Hey guys, Tadeu here. Have you ever unlocked a bunch of ninja skills, tried them out in real combat and still got schooled? Yep, it's not your fault. Nioh 3 throws a shitload of moves your way, but let's be real. A lot of them are either useless just for show or straight up get your ass kicked gimmicks. So in this video, I'm cutting through all that. I'm gonna show you the actual useful skills across all 7 ninja weapons. The ones that are easy to use, actually works in real fights and won't get you killed. For each weapon, I'll start with skill setup, then break down each skill, what it does, how it looks, and why it works in real fights. Now let's cut the Euro blabber and get straight into it alphabetically. Do ninja swords, a weapon that wants your feet off the ground. Let's look at the skill setup. Since we're playing Top Gun, so of course we'll choose Cloud Dancer in Mystic Art. Now let's start with your ground tools. Your main attack on the ground is Obsidian. It's fast, reliable, and does decent damage. This is what you'll be using most of the time when you're grounded. What makes it better is how it works with Moonshadow. When you're fighting human enemies, if your heavy attack gets blocked, it automatically transitions into Moonshadow, letting you keep the pressure and your damage going. For human enemies, you also want Double-Headed Slice. It hits multiple times, keeps constant pressure, and works whether the enemy is guarding or getting hit. It's especially good for draining ki and forcing openings. Against Yaokai, switch to Shadow Slice. It's quick, ends fast, and gives you a solid damage without overcommitting. Just a clean, reliable option. For movement, you got Wave Slash. It hits and pulls you back at the same time, giving you space to recover ki or reset your position. And then there is Water Sword. If you get a big opening, like when an enemy is out of ki or fully staggered, use this instead of a grapple. It dumps a ton of damage in a short window. That's it for ground tools. Now let's take it into the air. This is where the weapon really shines. You got 2 easy ways to get airborne, Cloud Splitter and your basic jump. Both are fast, so getting into the air is not an issue. Once you're up there, your main damage comes from Divine Flight. You can chain it up to 3 times, but you don't have to commit to all 3. Usually 1 or 2 is enough to reposition, often landing you behind the enemy. From there, you go straight into Spinning Drill to come back down. If you position it right, you land most of the hits, if not all the hits, on the enemy's back, which is where your real damage comes in. And all of this is amplified by Cloud Dancer, which is why staying airborne is so important with this weapon. That's pretty much the core of Do Ninja Swords. Hatches is basically a wild surge weapon. Everything revolves around setting that up and cashing it out. Starting with the Mystic Art, go with Train Throw. Since you're constantly using all those hurl skills and charging them, this gives you a constant damage boost across your main tools. Now for the setup. There are a lot of skills here, but most of them are just starters or support. The real core of this weapon is Wild Surge 2. You got 3 main starters: Dual Hurl Light, Piercing Hurl Light, and Heaven's Clash Wind. No matter which one you use, the goal is the same. After the starter, you go straight into Wild Surge. Use a light attack to dash in, then follow up with a heavy attack to cash out for solid damage. That's your core loop, starter into Wild Surge. Simple, consistent, and it hits surprisingly hard for a ninja weapon. Now, for your supporting tools. Demon's Undercut is mainly there for ki damage. It's especially useful against Yaokai when you just want to chuck their ki and force openings. If you don't want to commit to Wild Surge every time, you can use Lethal Barrage too. It's not as strong as Wild Surge, but it doesn't need a setup, just a straightforward damage option. Do Hawks is there for crowd control. If you get surrounded by smaller Yaokai or human enemies, this gives you an easy AoE option to hit everything around you and clear space. Grease Lightning is your elemental option. If you want to add some extra elemental damage into your rotation, this is a simple way to do it. Nothing fancy. At the end of the day, everything here feeds back into one thing, starting Wild Surge 2. That's Hatches. Find your starter, go into Wild Surge, and repeat. Kusarigama is a bit of an awkward weapon. It's not the strongest, but if you like the style, you can still get the job done. Starting with the Mystic Art, go with Shooting Star. It's simple, just a flat damage boost across your attacks. Now for your main tools. Your core attack is Deadly Mark. It's fast, reliable, this is what you'll be using most of the time. For a little bit of heavier damage, you got Crimson Flurry 2. Hold the heavy attack, and it dumps out solid damage. Good when you have a safe window. For ki damage, using Whirlwind Kick. It's mainly there to pressure the enemy's ki and help you create openings. Before going into a fight, you can use Summer Twilight. It's just a simple buff to boost your damage, nothing complicated, just activate it and go in. Whirlwind Wind is a bit slower, but it still deals decent damage. Use it when you know you won't get interrupted. For crowd situations, you got Renegade Dragon. It gives you an AoE option with solid damage, useful when you're dealing with like multiple enemies. And then there's Waterfall. This is more situational. When you perfect block a human enemy, you can follow up with Waterfall to throw them and get extra damage. And that's pretty much Kusarigama. It's not an overwhelming weapon, but if you like the style, this is how you make it work. Ninja Swords is all about backstabbing. Play it right and the damage ramps up fast. Starting with the Mystic Art, go with Height of Obscurity. It boosts your back damage, which is exactly what this weapon is built around. For your setup, make sure you have Izuna drop as well. It gives you a stronger grapple option when you get the chance. Now for your main tools, your core attack is Kick Slash. It's fast, reliable, and works against both human enemies and Yaokai. It has 3 hits. You can safely use the first 2 and only commit to the 3rd hit when you know you won't get punished. It does solid damage to both health and ki, which makes it your go-to move in most situations. Against human enemies, you got Kurama Sword Dance. It hits multiple times and keeps constant pressure, making it great for locking human enemies down. Shadow Cyclone combo is more of a flexible option. You dash in, slice, and reposition. It's not your main damage tool, but it's useful for mobility and keeping your flow going, and for fun. For movement and recovery, use Swallow Slash. It lets you disengage cleanly and recover ki, which is important for staying safe. Now the core of this weapon, Hollow Step. This is the skill that starts your backstabbing. Hold heavy attack button, then press it again. Against human enemies or when a Yaokai is out of ki, Hollow Steps let you reposition directly behind them, guaranteed. From there, you go straight into Kick Slash for heavy damage. That is your main loop. Get behind, punish, repeat. You also have 2 aerial options. Sky Rift is very strong against human enemies. You can keep them locked down. If you position it right, multiple hits will land on their back for extra damage. And then there is Falling Moon. If you get above or behind the enemy, you can land all 3 attacks on their back, giving you another solid burst option from the air. And that's Ninja Swords. It's all about backstabbing. Once you're constantly getting to the enemy's back, the weapon really starts to shine. Splitstaves is one of those weapons that looks cooler than it feels, right, Kusarigama? But if you like the style, it can still work. You just have to lean into the useful skills. Starting with the Mystic Art, go with Law of Largesse. This boosts your damage when you hold inputs for extra hits, which is exactly what this weapon is built around. Now, for your main tools, your core everyday options are Seesaw Strike Impact and Ebb and Flow. With Seesaw Strike Impact, you want to hold the heavy button to extend it. That's where the extra damage comes from. With Ebb and Flow, instead of holding, you keep tapping light attack to chain more hits. These 2 are your bread and butter, simple, consistent, and will be using most of the time. For elemental damage, you got Radiant Moon Lightning. If it connects cleanly, you can sometimes end up hitting the enemy's back, which gives you a bit more damage. For ki damage, use Heron Kick. It's fast, clean, and your most reliable option when you just want to pressure ki. Now for your guard and light attack options, Changing Waves is the most consistent one. It doesn't do anything crazy, but it lands reliably and gives you a steady damage. Dragon Dance can deal more damage if you hold it, but it has a problem. Against smaller enemies, some of the hits can miss, which makes it less reliable. Shapeshift Strike is similar. You can hold it for more damage, but it runs into the same issue as Dragon Dance, where it doesn't always connect cleanly. So here, just pick the one that feels best to you, none of them are must-haves. And the Splitstaves. It works best when you're dealing with groups, especially smaller enemies you can stagger and keep locked down with repeated hits. Outside of that, it can feel a bit inconsistent, so you really have to lean into its playstyle. If you like the weapon, these are the skills that make it work. Talons is built around Beyond Infinity. If you can use it well, this becomes a very powerful weapon. If not, it still works, just more like a straightforward damage tool. Starting with the Mystic Art, go with Clone Ember. It gives you a bit of ki recovery when you activate Mist. kind of like a samurai key pause, helps keep your flow going. For your setup, also take Izuna drop for a stronger grapple when you get openings. Now for your main tools. For basic, reliable damage, use Whirling Tiger. It's fast, clean, does decent damage, and you can cancel out of it with Mist to stay safe and mobile. Then you got Chaotic Cleave. This one is more of a I'm too lazy option, especially against human enemies or Yokai with no ki. You can hold it and let the damage play out by itself when you're having a popcorn. Mist/Slash Lightning is mainly for movement and a bit of elemental damage. It's not your main damage tool, but it helps with positioning and adds some extra value. Now the core of the weapon, Beyond Infinity. This is where your real damage comes from. It's a chain of 5 combos, and after the first combo, you'll see a flash. If you time your next input with the flash, the following attacks come out faster and hit harder. You can still use it normally, but if you want to get the most of this weapon, you need to learn that timing. It's not easy, it takes practice, but once you get it down, Talons becomes a completely different weapon. Simple on the surface, but the real power comes from mastering Beyond Infinity. Tonfa is built around Demon Dance. Once you understand it, this weapon becomes extremely strong, especially against human enemies. Starting with the Mystic Art, go with Kenagi. This lets you cancel out of almost any move into Demon Dance, which is huge because it means you can chain your attacks together however you want it, stay safe, and keep your pressure going. Now for your main tools, for simple, reliable damage, use Devastation. It's fast, solid damage for both health and ki, just a clean go-to option. For elemental damage, you've got Mountain Breaker Lightning. Nothing complicated, just an easy way to add extra damage. Against human enemies, Heavenly Chain is very strong. It keeps constant pressure and works really well when you're trying to lock them down, and go straight into Demon Dash or Demon Dance. For a big punish damage, instead of grappling, use Focus Strike Heavy. If you get an opening, this hits much harder and gives you better value than a standard grapple. You also have a unique parry with 1000 Tongues. It's a parry, and the first time I mentioned parry in ninja weapons. What makes this one special is that it can work against Yokai as well, which is rare for a parry. For mobility, use Fleetfoot. If the enemy creates distance after attacking, this lets you close the gap quickly and stay aggressive. Now the core of the weapon, Demon Dance. With Kenagi, after almost any move, you can cancel into Demon Dance. It doesn't move you very far, but it lets you immediately follow up the Pulverize, which is your main damage tool. Pulverize has 3 hits chain, and because you can cancel it at any point, you can keep looping this. Attack, Demon Dance, Pulverize, cancel, and repeat. This is what makes Tonfa so strong against humans. Once you get going, they barely get a chance to fight back. Also have Demon Dash, which is a quick dash attack used to close distance and stay on the enemy. And then there's Demon Fan. This works really well with Demon Dance. You can circle around the enemy, keep applying pressure, and once they're out of ki, it leads straight into a grapple. It's effective against both humans and Yokai. And that's Tonfa. It's all about mastering Demon Dance. Once you get comfortable with that loop, the weapon becomes both extremely strong and very stylish to play. Alright, that's all the ninja weapons. Pick the one you like, follow the skills I recommended, and you'll feel it right away. Hope this video helps. Love you all.